All right. Well, welcome to Guerrilla Discipleship. I've got a guest you've already met if you've watched last week, Emily March. She's a counselor with Centerpoint Counseling. Her office is right here at Oakdale Church. She also does, I think you also do counseling online. So you can get a virtual appointment or an in-person appointment. And we've been talking about, we've been hearing Emily's story, and we're going to continue to pick up where we were last week. So glad you're here, glad you're joining us. Okay, so let me back up for a second. What led you at that point, Miss Evangelist, to say, I want to get a degree in counseling? What was the impetus for that? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
But at some point there, you were thinking, maybe I should pursue a counseling degree.
It's always kind of been in the back of my mind.
Okay.
It was an option of I could get a dual enrollment during my bachelor's degree and pursue counseling in that way, but I didn't want to do that. I've always been the mediator for friends, family. People come to me and tell me their side of the story, and someone will tell me their side of the story, and I'm like, okay, look, guys, talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of done that in my life, and I guess I was thinking that if I'm in the States and not on the mission field, I need a degree that I can use and get paid for.
Bible degrees they're not banging the doors down for people with a Bible degree.
No, nor intercultural studies in the United States. It's kind of hard to get paid for any of this. Like I can volunteer a lot, especially at church and stuff, but I need something to get
and
so
that
I
was
can
something
get a paycheck.
You could do. Okay.
So I was leaning that direction at that time.
And now it sounds to me like if I'm following you, that you didn't go to China through your sending agency.
No.
You began to apply. Was there a formal termination with that agency?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you and Steve were just looking for opportunities then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, and praying.
And praying.
And asking God to send us somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And so China opens up, and you guys go to China.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that. How did China work?
It was.
Well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Excuse me. He's going to teach.
Yes.
What were you going to do?
I was going to work in the church.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And who invited you over? The government of China?
The school.
The school, a private school that he was going to teach
It
under?
was Chinese school.
Chinese school. Okay.
Yeah.
My son and daughter-in-law taught there. But I thought it was a private school. Maybe
There's
there are
lots
such
of
things.
schools.
Lots of schools.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this was a government school. Did they have government schools there?
Mm-hmm. This was a public
School
Chinese
invited
school.
you to come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So you go and you're going to work with the church.
Well, we don't say that.
But that's what you thought.
Yes.
Okay. Were you still on I'm going to evangelize all of China?
No.
No.
At this point, well, maybe. Actually, yeah, maybe.
You were hoping that there was going to be evangelistic opportunities.
I think there was still that hope, yeah.
Okay.
I think I was still in that thought that, I'm going to go and tell people that don't know Jesus about Jesus.
So, but he's got the job and teaching, and you're not going to get paid for this, but you're going to just be there working.
Yeah, because I just am going on a spouse visa. I'm not going on a work visa.
Okay.
I didn't get a job.
So how did that work? I'm banging my microphone around.
Yeah, so the very first day we are out on our own. So his company, met us at the airport, took us around, found us a place to live, all that stuff. And then he's like, okay, report to work on Monday. All right. So it's the weekend, very first day we go out, we're looking for coffee. And we hear this voice from behind us saying, well, you're new here, aren't you? And it's in English. And we're like, what? Because we hadn't seen another foreigner at all in our neighborhood. And so we're talking to him. We're like, yeah, we were looking for coffee. And that's, cafe. It's kind of an international word.
Yeah.
And you can smell coffee. It smells the same no matter where you are. And we strike up a conversation. And this guy, he's like, I'm going to take you out for lunch. I'm going to introduce you to my wife. She's Chinese. We can help you guys out acclimate because it's, you need somebody.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, cool. So he takes us to lunch. And his wife's name is July. And they met at his job. She was the interpreter for his company. And it was like his company that he's there working with. And so she really understands both languages as an interpreter. And so she's asking us, hey, is there anything you guys need? And I said, well, I need somebody to help me learn Chinese so I can speak, get around, because I don't know any Mandarin at this point. And she says, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, okay. And so she invited me to her house twice a week for tea.
Wow.
And so I went over to her house every Tuesday and Thursday and learned Mandarin Chinese for free.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Now, were these believers?
And yeah, and so she was one of the first ones to pull me aside and say, oh, by the way, I'm a Christian too.
Oh, okay.
And
wow.
to my recollection, I never really talked about Jesus yet or told her that I was a Christian. She just assumed that I was.
Because the contract that Steve, I guess, had signed said you can't be affiliated with. How did it word it? Was it you can't be affiliated with?
It was a check box that says I will not be associated with the underground church.
With the underground church. Okay, so it would have been all right to be part of the government-run church.
The government-run church, yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that.
So it wasn't, you didn't have to hide your Christianity.
Correct.
But you just could not engage with the underground church.
Yeah, we couldn't outwardly evangelize and try to convert the Chinese citizens.
Even to the government church?
Correct.
I mean, they would have been upset about that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting connected with this couple. Steve's starting to teach. You're learning Mandarin. Are you engaging with anything else other than learning Mandarin at that point?
Nope. For the first 6 months, I just wanted to survive.
Yeah.
You got to learn about the culture, learn the language, and that's what I was trained to do also.
Yeah.
Like the first 6 months or so, you just need to get your feet wet.
Gotcha.
Don't try to jump into ministry because that's not helpful.
Right.
Right? And so 6 months into it, though, it was January, February, I was like, hey, let's go find a church. And so we went online and looked for something, and there was this one Chinese church that had the word English on their website, and it was like up on the metro line. And so we went up there just to explore, and we got there in the morning, and this wonderful woman comes up to us, and she's like, can I help you?
In
We're
English?
like, yeah. We're like, yeah. She's like, you look lost. We're like, yeah, we are. And so she brings us to the back of the church where it says English Bible Study, 2 p.m. And she says, you should come here. We're like, okay. So we went out for lunch. We waited around. We went back at 2 o'clock, and we went to this English Bible study. And it was wonderful. We were the only foreigners in the room, and they were all practicing their English, all talking, reading the Bible in English and everything, and it was really cool. And then at the end, we go up to the leader who was from Singapore, and we say, hey, we would love to help out however you want. And he's like, oh, God has brought you finally. You are our new leaders. We've been praying for you for a long time.
Wow.
And we're like, what? We were thinking like stacking chairs.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean? And he's like, no, you're here to teach us, aren't you? We're like, well, we could. He's like, great. You'll start next week.
So the whole thing got turned over to you and Steve.
Yeah.
So that was basically church for you then? Is that how you weren't going to because the other was all in Mandarin?
It was all in Mandarin.
Yeah. So you were
knew nothing.
You were hanging out at the church. Did they interview you about your faith? Was there just like, we don't know who you are, but you're going to be our new leaders?
Oh yeah, they took us to dinner. They're like, so come to dinner, let's get to know you.
Okay.
Yeah. So they took us to dinner. They did vet us.
Little bit of vetting there.
There was some vetting. And then they invited us to teach. And so we made some blunders along the way. We did some things that
give me an example of a blunder.
So one of my favorite books from Bible college was Watchman Nee's The Christian Life. Apparently, he's not very liked from the Chinese government, which makes sense now that I think about it. But we brought him up, and they casually took us to the side and said, never bring him up again.
The leader, who took you to the side?
The leaders of the group.
The church. Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. So that's a legitimate blunder.
Yeah.
You've not grown up with that kind of, have no idea what I can say and can't say kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's been blacklisted to talk about and who hasn't and things like that. So we stuck just to Jesus in the Bible after that.
Were most of the people, all of the people that are coming to the class are Chinese. They're coming basically to learn English. Did you feel like your evangelistic gifts were being used there? Did people come to know Jesus, or how did that work?
Some.
Okay.
Most already knew Jesus, and so
Most
we were
already
doing
did.
more discipleship than anything.
Okay.
More
So once
discipling than
again,
anything.
you get, now let me ask this question. This might be a long question. We'll figure out where it goes. In your view today, because a lot of times in the church we talk about evangelism, we talk about discipleship as if they are two separate things.
Right.
What
Like
do
I
you-
just did.
What do you think about that? Are they two separate things? Are they a continuum? How do you see that now that you were on the field as wanting to be an evangelist, but ended up doing a lot of discipleship?
I think that's a really good question. I hadn't really thought about it.
Okay. You can think about it. Now, if you come up with an answer, or if you want to take a stab at an answer right now, you're welcome to do that too.
Yeah. I really like that question. I think when I think about evangelism and discipleship, it's hard to separate them out because evangelism is simply sharing your faith with those around you. I can never remember who said it, but one of my favorite quotes is "Share your faith always. Use words if necessary." And
I think there's debate about who said that.
that's why I don't remember.
A lot of people say Francis of Assisi, but I've heard some back and forth as to whether it was him or not. But
anyway, it's a really good principle. And so you can live evangelistically, and discipleship is the same color,
yeah.
right? Because you're just sharing your faith and showing how Jesus has changed you and helping bring others into line with how to obey Christ and what that looks like.
One of the things that shifted for me, and one of the reasons why we do these podcasts, is I think I grew up with this Western thinking that you bring people to a place where they are willing to confess Jesus as Lord. Whatever, however you want to talk about that, right? You know, it's like I came to faith, or I surrendered my life to Christ. We have lots of ways that we talk about that. And then we say, now you're ready for discipleship. But when I started looking at the Gospels under a different view, I don't see Jesus, even with the disciples, saying, I need alignment with who I am theologically before you can start following me. There was an invitation to come and follow me. And so I think what has changed in my life and my thinking is that discipleship, we get discipled to conversion and discipled after conversion. And that's why, part of why I was asking you that question is I think that we've made these things in the West very boxed up and very programmatic. Another thing that we're trying to combat is that, and part of the reason why I'm so excited to talk with you is that all of this is really relational. It's not a program that does this. There's no program that's going to, we sometimes fall into that, and it's not that God can't use good systems and strategies, but it comes down to it's a connection between one person and another. So anyway, all of that, I guess I would say that separating out evangelism as if it's an event separate from an ongoing process of disciple making, I think has hurt us in some respects in the church. Because I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't know how to share my faith," or I don't know. And Billy Graham is the great, image that we all have. If
Of
you're
evangelist, right?
If you're an evangelist, it's going to be Billy.
Yes.
I grew up. I just was Billy Graham was my hero.
Yeah,
But-
the preacher on the corner
Yeah.
who converts everyone around them.
When he says, "If you'd like to give your life to Christ," thousands of people come.
Come forward for the
Yeah,
first time, right?
exactly.
Yeah, and so, if that's our only understanding of evangelism, then our box is really too small.
Way too small. So you're there. You're teaching at Bible study in English, and you do. How long do you all stay?
So we were in China for a total of 5 years.
Oh wow!
We were only in that city with that particular English Bible study for 2 years, and
Okay.
then we moved to a different city where entry into the Chinese church was very different. We actually had to show our passports.
Oh wow!
And so since we had American passports, we went to the expat church. So our ministry changed to the expat community.
So they didn't want you to go to the.
We couldn't mix.
You couldn't mix. Okay. Even though it's still the government-run church, they had one for expats and they had one for Chinese nationals.
Yeah, because it was a different city.
Now that you're safely back home, I'll just ask this question. Do you have a view of the government-run church in China that you'd be willing to share? Do you feel like it's a legitimate Bible-believing church?
As far as I could tell.
So why is it allowed by the government but the underground church isn't? What's the difference? Why do they have such a strict view of the underground church?
Well, when we were living there, it all makes perfect sense to me. When we were living there, they said if you have a group of a certain size, all you have to do is register.
So they want some control over it. They wanted to know who you are.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
And if you look at the thousands and thousands of years of history that they have, which this country does not have, groups that were secret and would rise up in rebellion and try to topple the government. So that was just a common thing that happened for a long time, over and over again. And so, yeah, that made perfect sense that they just want to know what you're talking about and be able to listen in, which I didn't see a problem with.
Okay, and so, but you would say that the gospel is being preached from the government-run church in China as well?
Absolutely. They're using the Bible.
Well, okay, good. I don't know that everybody would know that.
I mean, I only went to one.
Yeah, but the one that you went to, you felt like it was theologically sound.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you stay there for 5 years, or you're in China for 5 years, and do you feel now, in that moment, I'm not asking right now in this time, but in that moment, are you feeling like, wow, God is really using me here? Mm-hmm. So it's a wonderful season. Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to come back?
The pollution was pretty bad. And we all had masks. Wearing a mask was not new to us when COVID came around. We all had masks, really good ones, and we would wear them a lot. I had my 2 babies over there.
Oh, wow.
So when we moved back, Abby was 3 and Lily was 1. And so the years before that, Abby would go to the doctor every 6 months and get on antibiotics because of a bronchitis, some type of infection in her lungs. And it had, her asthma, it turned out to be asthma, but over there it was treated as an infection. And it was just so bad and so repetitive that after the, 4th or 5th time, I'm like, we've got to change something up because her health is being really affected by this. And we stayed indoors as often as we could, but the refrigerator is the size of this black, thing right here. And so you can only buy food for like the day, and then you have to go out to the market and get more. And so we couldn't just always be inside.
Wow.
So
we're going to continue talking, but again, I am so appreciative of you being a part of what we're doing here, just being a part of this podcast. Emily's not going anywhere. We're going to keep going, so you'll be able to see this next week. But I wanted to just thank you. I know that we've got some more things to talk about. We're going to take some turns here in a few minutes to talk about how this evangelist missionary moved into counseling and why relationships are so critical to what God's using, how God's using her today. Thank you for being a part of Guerrilla Discipleship. We'll see you next week. As always, if you have questions, comments, you can email me at kbaker@oakdale.church, or you can make comments here, and we'll try and respond to those as well. Thank you.